Hi, my name is Sophia, and today I'm going to talk about the Karl Marx theory, base and superstructure. I'm going to go over the ideology, the concept of ideology, the dominant ideology, and I'm going to show you how the event I chose is embedded in this ideology, and also I'll propose some critical approach to the ideology. Um, so Ideology serves as a lens with the help of which people see the world around them. In the sociology field, it is understood as a set of values, ideas, beliefs that are known to people and that guides their behavior. Ideology is usually socially constructed. Next. For instance, wedding ceremonies are socially constructed rituals, but people forget that these ceremonies are choices and they begin to think that weddings must be performed in a certain way in order to be real. There is a cultural ideology in the US about weddings. The cost of them, people usually think that the US traditional weddings should cost $37 or more. But when wedding is performed in a non-traditional way or less expensive way, you might hear people complaining that it was not right or untraditional. Sociology field also offers a dominant ideology. It is a phenomena that shapes and explains how society works. In other words, the dominant ideology is known as the particular ideology that is most common and strongest in the given society. According to the Karl Marx theory, the dominant ideology of the United States is capitalism and the society is formed around it. The central idea of this ideology is that all people in the United States are free, equal, and everyone has the same opportunities to achieve anything they want in life. So, as for the hypothesis, this superstructure grows out of the base and supports the ruling class interests. So, the other way to to understand the hypothesis is the superstructure justifies how the base operates and defends the power of the elite. One of the core concepts of the Karl Marx theory is base and superstructure. The superstructure contains the entire cultural life of the society. We could use Marx's term ideology, but this term has been misused over the ages that no one can reliably make sense of it anymore. We might call it as mental structure of a society, such as religions, laws, sciences, politics, philosophies, educations, structures of government, and art. Whereas superstructure is a mental structure, the base is a material structure. So you might ask me, what is material structure? And it's usually the lower base, he called forces of production. This level contains of technologies of productions and related physical organizations such as tools, machines, raw materials, factories, and methods of production. Karl Marx stated that the superstructure grows out of the base and supports the ruling class interest, as I mentioned before. For instance, a recent immigration customs enforcement regulation policy that impacts international students in the US institutions has been made in support of Trump a political campaign in order to force all schools, including K-12 schools, to reopen for face-to-face instructions. This recent regulation proves to support interests of the ruling class, thus interest of the Trump administration. Recent statements by administration officials suggests that Domestic Homeland Security released this guidance as a pretext to force institutions of higher education to reopen against the advice of public health experts and local officials. The directive was issued the same day Donald Trump declared that all schools must open in the fall, and indicated that he views the opening of schools as a political issue. The base also contains of the workers that are involved in the production. Or in my example, the base would consist of the community of international students who involved in the production of educational system by funding US institution. Also, international students support the diversity of cultural environment in the US institutions. They contribute to the scientific field of research in US schools, and that generates the goods or services the society needs. Recent ICE published policy was issued in favor of the elite class, which is American governing apparatus. In this case, governing entities are represented by superstructure concept. Even though the base is generally dominant, a superstructure always grows out of the base, and it is dependent on base. In this scenario, the base is represented by the community of international students who should follow the regulation of Homeland Security, thus current government. By issuing such policies, the superstructure impacts its base, and if this policy will come into effect, the base will change and will impact international students as well as domestic students. In addition, such policies violate dominant ideology of the United States, as international students are taking the right to choose and feel threatened by the Trump administration, even though their contribution to the US economy is huge. Thank you for your attention.